Hi, my name is Tyrone, and I'm here to talk about this 2016 U.S. presidential election. It's very clear now that we are at a important time in our history, and this election is going to decide who we are as a people in this country. I want to specifically address my fellow Ohioans because I was born in Ohio, despite living in New York. So you go Ohio State. I want to specifically address a state like Ohio, which we all get caught up in these polls. And what Americans need to understand is these polls are a joke. Um, for example, anybody watching this, how many of you have ever even partaken in a poll? How many people have been called or emailed or texted or whatever to partake in a poll? There are scientific polls, there are unscientific polls. But regardless of what these numbers show, polls are a joke. And people need to understand that. They call 500 people up, one way or the other. It may lean more pro Democratic, it may lean more pro Republican, doesn't matter. But they call 500 people up, and they, based on what those 500 people tell them, they make an assessment about an entire region of people. That is completely insane. But going back to Ohio, Ohio, if you look at these polls, has been up and down for pretty much this entire time. But let's keep it real. Let's look at the historical numbers with a state like Ohio. Ohio, besides being the most battleground of all the battleground states that are out there, Ohio has not picked the presidential election wrong since 1960, when the state went with Richard Nixon when John Kennedy won. And since 1944, we are talking about over 70 years of elections, presidential elections. That 1960 was the only time since 1944 that Ohio got it wrong. Ohio is the quintessential state in this election. Despite only having 18 electoral votes, which, by the way, due to Ohio losing population, continues to go down from a high in 1966, 68, maybe it was 64, of 26 electoral votes. Ohio's down to 18. Those 18 electoral votes put George W. Bush over the top. And in 2008, when Barack Obama was elected in a historical election, it was Ohio that made the difference for him. It will once again be Ohio that determines who our next president is going to be. I have never been more proud of my state than when we Ohioans, those of you, my family, my friends, and people I don't even know who still live in Ohio, made the right decisions. Despite all the naysayers, despite all the polls, despite all the this and that, when Ohio made the right decisions in previous elections. And I have every confidence that Ohio is once again going to make the right decision, because out of all the 50 states, Ohio has the longest streak of getting this thing right. 1960, as I said, is the longest current active streak among the 50 states in terms of picking the president right. It's very clear for those of you who know me, who I'm pulling for in this election. And if you don't know, you can look behind me and you can see a book that I'm sure you can see very clearly. You may not like Hillary, you may not respect Hillary, but you cannot deny, be it Ohio or be it anyone, that this woman is prepared, she is experienced, she is thorough, she is thoughtful. Does she have her faults? Absolutely, but don't we all? This woman is prepared to lead this country for the next 4 years. Now, the buffoon she's running against, and I understand places like Ohio where people may be downtrodden, out of work, downsized, factory pulled up and left, whatever the case may be. I understand people's affection for this man. That is not lost on me by any stretch of the imagination. But I know the people in Ohio are good-hearted, good-natured, hard-working, smart people. They wouldn't be smart if they didn't get this thing right since 1960. Let's just face it. We're talking about at least 2 to 3 generations right there, just continually picking the presidential election race. So people in Ohio are clearly smart in terms of understanding the issues and being very pragmatic about who they're going to choose. There's no doubt in my mind that Ohio has gone through some tough times, but I think in the end, Ohio is going to realize that the best person to to take the place of President Barack Obama is none other than Hillary Clinton. It will be a sad day personally for me, should Ohio go with Trump, given what this man has said, all the hate he has spewed, the racist statements, the president, the prejudice remarks, the just all out and overall belligerence in general against women, Hispanics, Muslims, blacks, you name it. You can't fool Ohioans very easily, despite people going through bad times and rough times. We are very, very proud and smart and clever and thought provoking people in the Buckeye State. And I feel very confident that in the end, Hillary is going to win Ohio and obviously with it become the 45th president of the United States. But it's bigger than that. I think Ohio is going to be a state where we're going to learn something about the depths of the soul of the nation by looking at this state and what happens in this state. And when you look at some place like Cleveland, which is very liberal, Columbus, which is where I'm from, more moderate, can tend to be red certain times, can tend to be blue certain times, but more moderate. And then Cincinnati area, more conservative. You're going to look all over this state, and you are going to um, see people really come to their senses on November the 8th and realize that this is bigger than all of us. It really is. This is not even about a Hillary Clinton or a Donald Trump. This is about something more than just the next 4 years. This is about our children, our children's children. This is about the international community. This is so much. This is about the Supreme Court. I mean, this is so much bigger than all of us. And you are going to be, I think, the powers that be and the pundits and all these people who think they know everything. They need to just set up camp in Ohio, just in different cities, big and small, in the middle, and talk to people, um, both before, during, and after this election, to get a sense as to why Ohio will go or is going to go and did go the way that I'm predicting. And you'll understand as a whole, why the nation, people in the nation feel the way they do, both good, bad, and indifferent, and then B, how when we're called upon to do the right thing as a nation, we will. Our children are watching us throughout this election, and I don't want them to look back at 2016 and said that is the decision that they made that put us in the position that we are in right now. Now, that's not to say that, let's say Hillary does win and she doesn't live up to the standards that we expect her to, that we don't own that. Of course, we will own. We will own everything that Hillary does, good, bad, or indifferent, as I said before. But every single one of us will own the debacle of Trump becoming president. Every single one of us. We will own that. In particularly those who put him there, but worse than that, those who chose to sit on the sidelines or go with the third party candidate who literally, I know you have your right to do that. You have your, the power of the ballot and shit. Your right to pick who you want to pick, but only one of two people are going to win this election. So any vote for either one, anyone but those two, is a vote for the person that you didn't want to get in there. I think when it's all said and done, though, just like we did in 2008, we had the same fears. We had the same vitriol that you see going on in this election, probably more so than because of the black man was running for president. Um, no one had ever seen a black man or black person get that close. We had the same level of vitriol coming from the other side that in the end we looked back and we said, we did the right thing. Um, I think that same thing's going to happen because I just can't imagine the trajectory of the country if we put this man in office to become the most powerful person on the face of the planet. A man who has harmed so many people for sport. I honestly believe for sport and literally cares about no one but himself. So I don't care if you're a factory worker in Toledo and you've lost your job. I want you to think about not just now, not just November the 8th, not just 4 years from now. I want you to think it's bigger than you, it's bigger than that, it's bigger than all of us. I want you to think several years down the line. Um, America has been on the precipice before in terms of electing um, the wrong leaders in certain situations. It could be Republican, Democrat, Federalist, Whig. You can go back to the beginning of our nation. We've been on the precipice before by electing the wrong people. And if you look at other civilizations and other countries throughout history, they certainly have had done that, and look what it did to them in the course of their history, in the course of the world for that matter. Germany, other places. This is just a very critical time for us right now, and it's a little nerve-wracking. It's a little scary from both perspectives. I can see whether you like her or you like him, or you hate her or you hate him. I can see why people feel the way they do. But I honestly have, maybe call me naive, but I have a faith in the American people. I have a faith in the people in my home state of Ohio, even though I have not lived there in quite a number of years. Every time I go back to visit my family, my friends, I just meet good people, whether I agree with them philosophically or not. That is not the point. These people are good, and I have every confidence, just as sure as the sky comes up in the east and sets in the west, that Ohio and all these some other key states are going to follow through and are going to do the right thing, and we will elect Hillary Clinton as the 45th president of the United States, and we won't look back. And the demagogue known as Trump, I predict that he's going to have a very rough few years ahead. I predict that the Republican Party is going to have a lot of soul searching to do, as they seem to always do, because they never learn their lesson. Every 4 years, they just never learn their lesson. I assume that on November the 9th, the day after the election, they will begin their plotting and scheming to bring down the Hillary presidency and to make sure she's not reelected. It'll be the same thing as it always is. Don't expect it to change. But know that on November the 9th and on January the 20th, 2017, it's time for us to put all these little petty differences aside and for us to go to work as a people and to bring the nation back from that precipice I mentioned earlier, and to be strong and to work together to continue to drive our economy, which is getting stronger, to continue to lift all people, lift the nation up, and to either continue the things that President Obama has done that have worked, and to better those that have not, for everyone, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Muslim, doesn't matter, to lift the factory worker, the hardworking single mom, the next generation, the millennials, getting millennials jobs. I mean, everything. Um, it'll be our turn to step up once again after we drop that ballot off on November the 8th, and we've done the postmortem, we've done the celebration, we've done the crying, the whatever, either side you're on, you do. It's just time to go to work. We can't have a repeat of what we've had the last 8 years in terms of the vitriol and the hatred and the pulling apart of our country, because Lincoln was right about one thing. The United States will never, unless aliens come down from outer space and destroy everything, we will never as a nation fall to an external enemy. If this country is going to fall, it will be from within. And we're doing a pretty damn good job of that right now. But we have a chance. We have a choice that starts on November the 8th, and then we have a chance after that to fix all of this and to make this work and to reach out to those who think differently than us, or who don't look like us, or who don't act like us, or who have different philosophical views than us, and just at least understand what that other side is going through. I think if we have that dialogue, have that faith, I feel confident that history will not be unkind to us in terms of determining that we did our best to do the right thing. That's all I want to say right now. I just want to remind everybody to go out and vote on November the 8th. If you are so inclined, I would hope that you would vote for Hillary Clinton, as I will be doing. Um, Special message to all the millennials, in particular the young African Americans and other minorities who are disillusioned, whether it's through economic situation or police brutality, and I will talk about that in another session. I really hope you go out and understand that this is bigger than you and bigger than all of us and bigger than this time that we're in. Um, we need you. We're going to need you to win this thing. So we'll be talking about that soon. Um, to my people in Ohio, all my peeps in Ohio, whether I know you, whether you're a family, whether you're a friend, go to those polls. Don't let Ohio get this wrong. Don't break the biggest streak of the 50 states. Ohio hasn't gotten it wrong since 1960 and once since 1944, almost 70 plus years. Don't let 2016 be the one time that Ohio gets this wrong. Okay, so I will talk to you all soon. I'm out. Go Bucks.